Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zach and Sean and Ryan are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 65, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and joining me once more is my best pal, Brian Hall.
Hey, what's going on, Zaki?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. It's been a while.
I'm not going to sing it. I will not do that. I'm trying to stop. I'm trying to wean myself off. But joining us, we have a special guest, and it is Sabir Pirzada. Sabir, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan of the podcast, so it's really great to be here.
Well, now this is exciting. You are a writer for one of my favorite shows, which is Person of Interest.
More like writer's assistant, which means that I get to sit in the room with the writers and take notes for them and help keep track of story and things like that. But
as of next week, you get to say you've written for Person of Interest because you have your first credit will be appearing on TV. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Very excited to say that I've co-written an episode with the other writer's assistant, and it's airing on March 10th at 10 p.m.
We're gonna dive into that a little bit in just a little bit because this is difficult for me because I watch the show but I watch it in Blu-ray increments, so I have no idea what's going on this season. So I'm gonna ask you to tease me and tease the audience without giving anything away. But we'll get to that in just a little bit. But before we do that, Brian, I know that you have some movies that you've just watched that you wanted to talk about briefly.
Yeah, I actually checked out Citizen 4. Did you guys see this? It just won Best Documentary at the Oscars this year.
I know of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I just knew it was about Edward Snowden. And I thought it was just going to be a little, I don't know, like news piece about everything that went down with him. But it turns out this is actually the story of him reaching out for the first time before he had been identified or even released any of the information that he had released. And the film is actually him in the hotel room for the first time handing over these materials to a reporter. And so you can see the nervousness and the tension on his face and in the room. And as it plays out, I was going to say spoiler. I don't want to spoil it. I don't know if there are spoilers of the story.
It is real life, right?
Eventually the story does get out, and the cameras are actually in the room as he's hearing his story for the first time on CNN. So it's a really fascinating fly on the wall. I mean, this is literally like if you could be a fly on the wall of these events, that's what this film is. And I found it really pretty captivating. So I think
it rightly won the Best Documentary prize.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen all the things that were nominated, but it's on HBO right now, and I think most people who check it out would be pretty riveted by it, regardless of how you feel about the guy. I mean, just a scenario. This is like a real-life, not cloak and dagger per se, but I mean, this is like a crazy sort of scenario, and you're seeing it in real life unfold in real time. So, pretty captivating watch.
So that's Citizen 4, and what else have you had a chance to see?
Well, I finally got to check out Selma, and
okay.
Which I know you liked, and I had wanted to see.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was really good. It was interesting that it didn't feel like a big film, like it wasn't like all about Martin Luther King's life, like this grand sweeping sort of epic. Like it's about a moment in time, and I think there was something sort of refreshing about that.
Brian, here's my question. Could you feel comfortable saying you didn't like Selma? Because I'm just imagining. I'm trying to imagine the white person who's like, I hated Selma. It was like I haven't met that person yet.
I think if it would have to be a pretty bad movie to like hate it, right? So I imagine someone else, like it wouldn't have gone over as well as it has with people if it wasn't any good. But yeah, it would be very uncomfortable if it had gone over like really, really well, and I just thought it was crap. Yeah, that'd be.
See, what I would love to see is somebody deliberately make a terrible Martin Luther King movie just for the spectacle of seeing white people hem and haw about how they hated it, but without saying they hated it.
Well, that would be an amazing documentary. It's a test, right? And just see how people react to it.
Dude, we should do this. It'll be like the producers of Race.
Well, like it'll film like the test screenings, and then it'll like culminate when we're at the Oscar accepting like the best picture, and we're like, "You idiot."
You picture these like Berkeley liberals like trying to explain to each other why it isn't terrible, you know?
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
I want to see that movie now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to say real quick too, David Oyelowo, if I'm saying that correctly, who it was sort of a big deal that he wasn't nominated for Best Actor, does a really good.
Prime.
I saw him as the real person, David Oyelowo, first, before seeing this movie and hearing him with his accent and the way that he carries himself, and then seeing him in this film as Martin Luther King. I mean, it's a really good performance. So.
Yeah, well, the first time I saw him was as evil corporate guy in Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh man, I don't remember.
Yeah, he's like the evil the bad guy, like the evil corporate guy, where he's like, kill the monkeys. Actually, that sounds like James Mason, actually, but and then they like push him off the helicopter at the end, and he dies.
Oh, funny. I don't remember. I don't remember it being him.
Yeah, but he just became Martin Luther King. I mean, it was a transformative performance. I don't understand why he wasn't nominated. I think he absolutely should have been.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. And Brian, you said that you had a chance to revisit Up in the Air. I know we did our Jason Reitman dissection a few weeks ago.
Well, just he came out really strong right out of the gate, and he was just like, what was it? Was it Thank You for Smoking's first?
Juno,
his debut.
Juno,
right? Juno
which
was
before that, wasn't it?
Flash, and then Thank You for Smoking, which was well received, and then Up in the Air. And it just seems like he hasn't had a film that's really connected or landed as well as he would like lately. I mean, he's even admitted that himself. And so anyway, I just happened to catch Up in the Air on HBO this past week. It was like starting at 11:30 p.m. and I was folding laundry, and I saw it all the way to the end of 1:30. I was like, "That's a really good movie." I hadn't seen it since the theater. I thought it really held up. So I'm holding out hope. Like he's a good filmmaker. I think he's got another one of those up his sleeve. So anyway.
Well, somewhere out there, Jason Reitman is listening to the show, and
he's like, "Thanks, Brian."
Single tear rolled down his cheek when you said that. So, I haven't had a chance to get to as many screenings as I'd like, just because I've been ridiculously busy. This is like an ongoing saga in my life right now with my oldest kid in the Boy Scouts, and what I keep coming back to is how his being in the Scouts is a giant inconvenience for me. Which is really horribly selfish, but if I can't vent to you guys and the entire listening public, then what's the point of this show? But coming up in a few weeks, I am taking my kid camping for Boy Scouts, and I'm telling you right now, this is a bad idea because I'm not somebody who should be taking anybody camping. What I'm seeing happen is that this will be kind of the Wonder Years moment where he's like, that's when I realized my dad was a loser. Can't help me. Can't do anything, and that's sad to me,
I've always been curious about those things. It's like how long do they go on these trips for?
This is like a 48-hour thing, and Brian, have you ever gone camping?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been camping. I didn't do it a lot growing up, but my friends are really into it these days.
Well, I feel like I'm at the Baton Death March because I'm positioned towards this thing, which is not going to go well.
Oh, it's going to go well.
I'm
it's
telling
you. It's going to be a thing you and your son never forget. There's going to be a whole three act structure to this. First it's going to be weird, then you're going to get the hang of it, then there's going to be a big climax, and you and your son will save the day.
This is real life, right? It's not real life does not follow the 3-act structure, that.
I don't follow. Yeah. No, for sure. I think it's gonna be a blast.
Here's what it is. When we're there, I'm gonna hear the Daniel Stern narration of his adult self.
Right.
So, like, while we're doing stuff, I'll hear him as an adult being like, was my dad an idiot? Did he not know how to start a fire? Like, I'll be hearing that as I'm doing it. I'll be like, where's that coming from? You know? Yeah. I don't know. So I have that coming up.
About it.
there you go. Yeah. But so I haven't had a chance to catch as many things. I did see a flick that I did want to recommend because not as many people are seeing it, and it's called McFarland USA.
Yeah, I saw your little blurb about it.
And I feel like I'm like the one man, marching society to get the word out on this movie. This is a Disney inspirational sports movie, of which we've gotten a whole host of them, like Miracle and Remember the Titans, and they do, like, that's their thing,
Right.
So this is in that vein, and it's Kevin Costner as inspirational coach. That's his name, inspirational coach.
But see, that's the thing. I didn't even know this movie existed until I saw it on the side of a bus. I guess like a week before it opened. Like I've never seen one trailer for it. Not on TV, not anywhere.
It's a good movie. I went to see it because of Kevin Costner. Is what I. We've had this conversation. I'm a Kevin Costner fan. I celebrate not his entire catalog, but large chunks of his catalog.
Sure.
Not even the majority of his catalog. Some portions of his. I despite his movies, really, I celebrate Kevin Costner's. but he had his like terrible movie 6 weeks ago, which was Black or White, right? We talked about that.
Oh yeah.
See, forgotten about it already. Yeah. And so I was like, well, we got our bad Kevin Costner flick out of the way, so hopefully this will be the good one. And it was really good. I mean, because the same thing happened last year. Remember, he did his bad movie, which was
last year.
What? 3 Days to Kill. Remember that?
Yeah.
See, forgotten about that one too.
Yeah.
I'm actually amazed he still headlines movies. When you look at his success ratio, it's not great.
Was Jack Ryan last year? Was that already like a year ago?
He didn't headline Jack Ryan. It still flopped. Right?
Yeah, no, but he was fine in it.
I know he wasn't the problem with it. I mean,
he was just playing Kevin Costner, I guess, but.
Yeah, he was wise Kevin Costner. Really, the only hit he's had recently is, correct me if I'm wrong, but Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I kind of forgot, but he was good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was good at that.
That's what I'm saying. See, I'm here to defend Kevin Costner. That's why I went to see the cross country running movie. That's what McFarland USA. And I'm not selling it because you're like cross country running. I'm not interested. But it's really good. It is worth seeing, and it opened a week ago, but I'm pretty sure it's already on Netflix based on.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Nobody's watching it, but
I'll check it out then.
At some point, go see that. Yeah. And also, I watched a movie called Focus.
I didn't know you'd seen it. What'd you think?
Well, Sabir, did you get a chance to see Focus by any chance?
I did actually, and the decision at the theater was between that and McFarland USA. And I had sort of pitched the idea that if McFarland USA had above a 77% of Rotten Tomatoes, that we would have to watch that. Mm-hmm. And then we looked it up, and it had 78%. So then we were going to go watch that, but then I just basically got outvoted by my friends, so who overruled me and said, no, we're going to watch Focus anyway. So that's what happened.
Well, you have bad friends. That's Did you like Focus? I'm curious what you thought of it.
I did like Focus. I felt like it was sort of a return to seeing Will Smith in a role that had all the personality that I wanted to see in a Will Smith movie that I hadn't seen in a while. So yeah,
no, I think that's fair. I actually agree with you to the extent that I think it's very clear that after the shellacking he got with After Earth, which by the way is not his fault because when you're in a movie with Jaden Smith, and even if he is your son, it's got to be kind of an embarrassment. I mean, let's be honest. And it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. You're kind of like tying your hands behind your back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that one flopped, and so I think Sabir, I think you hit on it. I think he's like retreating back to like a comfortable character, because this is basically like Criminal Hitch.
Totally.
Oh, really? Because the trailers to me didn't sell it that way. That he was being all Will Smith. It almost looked like a more serious turn, if that makes sense.
I actually haven't seen any of the trailers, so okay. I can't speak to that. But I mean, it's right, Sabir. He's basically like, Margot Robbie is like a more svelte Kevin James. Well, I mean, right? But it's the same idea, like teaching all the tricks of the trade and how to be a con person.
Oh, I get you with Hitch. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely, and there is that element of playfulness throughout the whole thing too. I think so. Yeah, it's got that in it. For sure.
Really? So why is it? I think it looks kind of like fun. So is it? I mean, is it at least fun?
Well, Saber liked it. I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't hate it. I was just like, all right, it didn't do much for me.
Okay.
And honestly, I think part of it, it felt to me like it felt like Will Smith was not really interested. It felt like he was just kind of doing it. But he looks like he's past movies like this. That was my sense, like watching him. He has this look on his face like he's just like tired, and he's kind of doing the same moves, and he's good at those moves, but he's he wants to move past that a little bit. I actually, I this is my question: is Will Smith kind of done as being the indestructible force that he was like even 5 years ago?
Well, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's pretty definitive at this point, right?
Yeah.
but why though? I mean, what happened? I'm curious about that.
His last few movies haven't been worth seeing. Like they're not must-sees. You know what I mean? They're not. He's one of those rare people that like every movie he made for a while was not only really good, but they were really memorable.
Sure.
There are things you revisited, and so he became Will Smith, the biggest star in the world. And then now, he makes a couple lackluster movies, and then makes some out and out bad movies. Then it's like, well, yeah, you question, what do you do? Because like, I don't know, I have like a million thoughts percolating in my brain right now. I'm trying to like calm down.
Let's hear Brian. I'm excited.
No,
Come on.
Well, real quick, I'll say this is what were the last couple of movies he did? Men in Black 3, by 3,
Which
like,
I thought was okay. I didn't think it was that bad.
I thought it was fine, but it's like you didn't have to see it. You know what I mean? Whereas Men in Black, you're like, what is this thing? This thing's crazy and it's really fun, and the Independence Day and all those Bad Boys and all those movies that he was making, It just feels like he hasn't made a movie, and it's like, how often do those movies come around, frankly? You know what I mean? For someone like... that's the thing, too, that I think the more that I got into movies and how Hollywood works is like, it's like, well, why hasn't Tom Cruise or Reese Witherspoon or someone come out with like a great movie in a while? It's like, well, great movies do not come around very often. You know what I mean? It's like a miracle that they exist at all, and then to get yourself attached to it is a whole other thing altogether. So I mean, Will Smith just needs another movie that
Jupiter Ascending is what he should have been in, right?
Right. Yeah, he just needs another one of those sort of once every few years sort of movies.
Okay, so let me ask you, if you were advising Will Smith, because this is a perfectly realistic scenario, Will Smith comes up to you, he's like, should I do Independence Day 2? Would you have said yes or no?
I would say yes.
So he should have done it.
I don't know how that movie's going to turn out, but it just seems like that is the sort of... Well, it depends on what he wants, let's put it that way. But like if he wants to get back into like event pictures and being like biggest superstar in the world kind of thing, like,
yeah,
I feel like that movie is missing him, and he's probably missing that movie. That's my opinion.
There you go. Okay. Well, Will Smith, listen to Brian.
Yeah. Big fan.
Well, he does have Suicide Squad coming up, I think, next year, the year after, and that also has Margot Robbie in it.
Right. I can't even picture what that movie is, by the way.
Well, they're gonna. I don't know if you saw, but they're like teasing how Jared Leto is gonna look as the Joker.
Yeah, it was like what, like a black and white picture of him, like getting his hair
cut.
Aren't you
teased? Aren't you teased, Brian? It's Jared Leto with his face kind of like covered. Come on.
I was not teased.
You were not teased. Well, I made a realization with Margot Robbie in this movie. She's basically like Jamie Presley 2.0.
But she was really good in Wolf of Wall Street. The only thing I've seen her in, but like
she's not.
I was actually really surprised by her in that movie.
No, I mean I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it's almost like they took the genetic DNA formula makeup
just like
Jamie Presley. Yeah, and then they kind of like tweaked the program a little bit and tried again, and they come up with Jamie Presley 2.0. She's like one step removed from My Name Is Earl. That's all I'm saying.
Really?
Zachy, it's been bothering me since Wolf of Wall Street. Who is it that she reminds me of? And you finally unearthed that mystery for me. That's who it is. It's Jamie Preston.
I told you.
Nice.
Because I was having that exact thing. I was like, who's and then it hit me.
Dude, that's funny.
I was watching Not Another Teen Movie, and that's when it hit me. So. That's also my dirty little secret, is that I watch that movie a lot because I think it's really funny.
That's a really funny movie. That's like one of the last funny parodies. Or spoof movies.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because I just happened to watch some of the Starving Games.
Oh, where?
It was on Netflix or one of these free services, and so out of a sense of, I don't know, self-flagellation, I was like, oh, let me watch like 15 minutes of this thing. Oh my God, it's so bad. It's just badness personified. It really is.
Yeah. I got nothing to say about that. Actually, you want to know a funny story? I guess I could share the story. It's years later. I worked at the studio that used to make those guys' movies.
Okay, Freeburg Seltzer. Uh-huh.
And everyone complains about those movies, but working at that studio, I was able to get a lot of props from that film. And the very chair I'm sitting in right now, came from Meet the Spartans.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in a very real way, it's because of those movies that you're able to sit and do this podcast.
That's true. It's supporting us right now.
Wow.
I don't know if I've just tainted our podcast, but
yeah, that's a sobering reminder of just how everything's connected.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about Will Smith and how he's kind of like Mr. Blockbuster. He was Mr. 4th of July for a little while, right? And I think that speaks to how the scheduling, you have kind of the big summer flicks are all the blockbusters, all the mega blockbusters. But that is something that seems to be changing. And this leads to a listener letter that we got from Dave, and he asks, does the blockbuster season still exist, or has Hollywood allowed big movies to succeed all year round? And the interesting thing about this is that this is a relatively recent phenomenon, because what we've started to see is summer is moving further and further back each year. This year, well, last year, right, at the beginning of April was The Winter Soldier. This year is going to be Fast and Furious 7. Next year, a year from now, we'll be talking about Batman versus Superman.
Right.
So, in other words, summer will be starting in March. So this is a two-pronged question. I think it's a good question that's worth discussing. Because clearly, quote unquote, the summer movie is now able to succeed all year round. Is this necessarily a good thing? That's my question for you guys. Because does this essentially squeeze out some of the smaller movies that do deserve to get an audience?
Well, I'll let our guest take over. I feel like
Sabir, what do you think?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I mean, just looking at how the movies came out last year, to be honest with you, I was actually really happy with a lot of the blockbuster films that came out, from Winter Soldier to X-Men, to Planet of the Apes, to Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought there was a lot of good stuff to go around. And I was actually more impressed with those movies than I was with the smaller art house films of last year. So, if the quality continues in that direction, I have no problem with it. But I don't know. We'll see.
That's actually a really good point, because it's funny because we talk about this a lot on the podcast, where it's like we watch a lot of movies, maybe more movies than a lot of people, and so we get a little conditioned, and then we'll watch a movie and we'll almost see it like The Matrix. We see the ones and zeros, and so it's a little different for us to enjoy certain types of movies. But I really do feel like popcorn flicks, they've all just become Coke knockoffs, you know what I mean, or something. They're just like this thing that I don't even get. There's nothing special about them so much anymore. But yeah, you're totally right. Like Captain America, which if we didn't know anything about Marvel, and you're just like, yeah, there's going to be a superhero movie. You're just like, oh, I know exactly what to picture. But that movie was so different than all the other ones, and just from all the studios. I mean, not just Marvel, but some of these bigger movies are getting more exciting and finding better ways to surprise audiences and taking the time to try to be a little smarter and subvert expectations, and so that's kind of exciting for bigger movies. But I always feel like smaller movies still find a way to sort of, if they they rise to the top. This
is like chaos theory, basically, of independent film that
or at least
finds a way.
Yeah, I don't feel like having Batman come out in March is going to like hurt other types of films or anything. I just feel like whenever people talk about how January and February are dump months for movies, I've never understood that because it's like, well, you look at Titanic, which came out in December, right, of its year, I think 97, and then it just clobbered the box office until like April or something like that. It's like, well, it's because there's nothing there to compete with it. So if you can have that movie, say like American Sniper or something like that, like you come out with a movie that people want to see, and I know that's hard to predict.
Like Black Hat.
Like Black Hat, right? Exactly. But like, yeah, I think like if you got something you're like, I think this is pretty good. Like, why not put it in a slower month and have it dominate for a little while?
Sure.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Titanic. Titanic was #1 for 16 weeks, 4 months, and I remember. I mean, Brian, you remember, right? I mean, when that movie was, it was like a semi truck. It was like the rig that the T-1000 is driving, and just cars are just getting knocked out of the way because like the Man in the Iron Mask came out, and like U.S. Marshals and all this crap. I mean, really, and it was meant to try to take down Titanic. You know what movie finally ousted Titanic from #1 at the box office?
I bet I could if I had a second, but
it was Lost in Space.
Oh, yeah, I remember something kind of yeah.
That god awful movie. That's the one claim to fame that movie has, is that it's the thing that knocked Titanic off the top.
4 months later. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I remember actually because I went to opening day to see that movie with Sean Coyle actually.
Which, Lost in Space or Titanic?
Not Titanic. We did not watch that together. but yeah, Lost in Space. I remember because he had wanted to see that, and we were at College of DuPage at the time, and I happened to pass him in the hallway, and I was like, hey, this was like the morning. It was Friday morning, and I was like, hey, when are we gonna see Lost in Space? And he's like, hey, you want to go right now? And I was like, well, I've got class. Okay, and so we just ditched class and went to see Lost in Space. So. That's a great story. That's all.
Well, which, by the way, I'll bring back a little Titanic anecdote. I think I brought it up on the podcast.
Would that be a Titanic note?
Titanic note. That's great. That's too bad. That's not like a regular segment we're gonna have.
I know. But, you have to.
Yeah. No, but I am a completely unabashed fan of Titanic. I love Titanic. And anyway, so I was flipping channels the other night, and this we were talking about cutting the cord, with cable. I was talking about it with my brother. I was saying, Zachy did it, and he's like, yeah, but that's like when you find out that those random movies are on. You know what I mean? And then you just start watching something that you wouldn't normally watch or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Anyway, Titanic was on AMC or something like that one night. And I just started watching it. And I kept going to commercial, and I was like, man. So I was checking to see how long it was going to be on. That movie was on AMC with commercials for 4.5 hours.
I believe it.
Yeah. 4.5 hours. That's insane.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have the DVD of that movie. I kept watching with commercials.
Well, you were a sick man.
Yeah, I couldn't stop.
How many times have you seen Titanic, Brian? I'm curious.
If we're being realistic right now,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe like 10 times.
Wow.
I've seen it quite a bit. Yeah, I saw it a couple times in theaters. I had a girlfriend at the time. We saw it probably twice. Saw it on DVD or video when it came out. A couple times. Seen it on TV. Yeah, I've seen it probably about 10 times.
So you've given more than a day of your life to Titanic.
I am completely comfortable in it.
I think, do we have this conversation about how like my problem with that movie that just it occurred to me after many moons, and it was the same thing. It was on TV where at the end when they're in the ballroom, like after Rose dies and she's in heaven and she's reunited with Jack. I'm like, well, what about her husband, who she had a family with, and who I'm assuming loved her?
Yeah, who's conspicuously absent from all the pictures by her bed at the end,
right?
Too, when she dies. Yeah.
I know. Because it's not even like she had an unhappy marriage. She says, "I loved you." Right? She tells her granddaughter, like, "Oh, I loved your father," and right. So in other words, she's just a bad person, Rose. And also, if you watch it, she's actually the reason for every bad thing that happens.
Because
the lookout guy is like watching them.
Right. No, they were already on trajectory, I think.
I think you're working too hard to defend Rose, Brian. That's
Maybe.
and she didn't move over on the thing. That's the other, I'm pretty
the
sure
door? Yeah, that's right.
there was room. I'm just saying, there was room.
There was room. I don't care what Cameron says. There was room.
There was absolutely room. But anyway, so blockbusters are expanding, and obviously, that's a good thing for us. This is my conclusion here, because what I've realized is that, and Brian, you know this, scheduling topics for January and February is very difficult for this show.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a lot of big stuff to talk about. So I'm like, well, the bigger the movies are, the better it is for us. So now, changing gears a little bit, we're talking about movies, but I do want to talk about what I consider a blockbuster TV show, which is Person of Interest.
Yes.
And this show is in its 4th season, and I mean, if a show is in its 4th season, that means that there is a loyal audience. But in my opinion, the audience is not big enough. And in my opinion, more people should be watching this show. So Sabir, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. I want you to appeal to our listeners and explain to them why they really should be watching Person of Interest.
Oh, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for saying all that, because I do appreciate people saying that who don't work on the show. Because anytime I say it, I feel like, well, people just got to write it off because I work on the show, which I suppose is valid to some extent. But yeah, I remain a huge fan of the show, even though I do work on it. It's about an artificial intelligence that has access to a major surveillance network, so you can see through every camera on your laptop, on your phone, traffic cameras, security cameras everywhere, and through this massive surveillance network, which is very reminiscent of all the stuff that Snowden had leaked about, it's able to identify premeditated crimes before they take place. And so it's all about a couple of vigilantes who are trying to stop murders in New York City before they happen. So imagine Batman meets Minority Report to some extent, and hopefully that'll give you an idea of what the show is. But the show is created by Jonathan Nolan, who is the brother of Christopher Nolan, and wrote the Batman movies with him, The Prestige, and Interstellar, Memento, if I didn't mention that. And so it's definitely got his fingerprints all over it, and it's produced by J.J. Abrams, so it's got his fingerprints as well. And
wow.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool mix of action and science fiction.
Very cool.
So Brian, have you ever seen Person of Interest?
I haven't, but I'm not a big TV person. And I know that sounds kind of snobby, but like it
really does.
No. I'm not. Like I kind of have my shows, and I watch a lot of more movies than I do television, so I miss out on a lot. What I'm trying to say is I miss out on a lot of these things. Like people at work will talk about certain shows, and I haven't seen them.
Well, and this is my perspective as a fan of the show. I think that Brian, you've said this before about how every network has kind of a style of show.
Yes.
And I think in that sense, this is very much a CBS show in that it has the sort of the skeleton of a procedural,
Mm-hmm.
And so in that sense, you can easily see it fitting in alongside, NCIS and CSI and all the other consonants that are laid out together to, but I think what makes it intriguing for me is the serialized aspects, and to me the fact that it is basically a superhero show minus the superhero trappings. And it's I was saying this to Sabir off mic. To me, I've said this from the beginning. It's like a Batman show.
Right.
And even with Gotham on right now, it's still the closest we have to a Batman TV show.
Right.
Because Gotham, I don't know if you've been paying attention, that show's gone from stupid to like crazy stupid.
Really?
So Sabir, you got to talk to Jonathan Nolan and get him to help out that other show too, because I think they're in desperate need.
I think he's busy enough, but yeah.
That's too bad, unlike movies, like like Gotham. Say Gotham goes away in a year or two. Like it's too bad that it's not like movies where you could just like reboot it. Like Spider-Man, it's like whatever. It's been like 2 years. Let's reboot them. Like it'd be cool if like they gave Gotham another shot. I feel like there's a good premise there. It just
Gotham has already been renewed for next season.
Right.
Which is bananas to me, but regardless, I mean, with Person of Interest now, the appeal to me, I think that Jim Caviezel is like, I mean, I've always thought he's fine. Like I can't say I've ever gone to see a movie because of him, but I mean he's so good on the show. He's perfect as Reese, and the relationship that he has with the other characters, with Taraji P. Henson, who's not on it anymore, but also Michael Emerson and et cetera. I mean, it's just a solid show. It's again, it has the procedural elements that should make TV people interested, and it has the sort of highfalutin stuff that should make people like Brian interested. but Sabir, you have now you have your first co-writing credit on the show. Is that right?
Yes. I co-wrote episode 17 of this season, which airs on March 10th at 10 p.m. And very excited about it. Yeah, it's a pretty standalone piece actually. So as you were saying, this is a procedural, and even in our procedural-heavy episodes, we tend to tee up certain things heading towards the mid-season finale and the finale and things like that. But I'd say this one is pretty standalone in the sense that if you don't know anything about the show, you could still tune in and get a complete mystery. And if you do know a lot about the show, you're just going to be that much more informed about what the characters are thinking and why they have the perspectives that they have going through the episode. So.
Perfect jumping on point.
So give us the elevator pitch.
For that episode?
Yes.
It is about a psychiatrist who has very unorthodox means of helping his patients attain closure. Yeah. And that may or may not get him into a lot of trouble.
Wait, my question is, now the episode's in the can, they can't do anything about it. What are some Easter eggs, like personal Easter eggs you threw in the episode just to like leave your stamp in there?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a couple of little things, like since I've been involved on sort of the graphic side for a couple of seasons now, you might see familiar name references on news reporters. One name of which may be a name that Zachy recognizes from his personal life.
Oh, wow.
It's Brian Hall.
Brian, I see your name wherever I go. Just even if it's not really there, I just see it haunting me,
cool.
or taunting me. I guess haunting or taunting.
Just to clarify, they're all fictionalized names to some extent because legal is very
all the clearances and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Can you give us a little bit of behind the scenes? What was the process like as far as breaking the story and coming up with the general idea for it?
Yeah, so our show is a little unusual in that it has a fairly large writers group. We've got about 12 writers, and we need that many writers because we do 22 episodes a year, and it's a drama and it's sort of all hands on deck. So the way it sort of works in the writers' room is whoever is not on assignment either in post-production on their episode or writing their episode is in the room helping us break the story. Sometimes we have to tee up certain things so we know, certain relationships are going to go to a certain direction in the next episode, so we have to sort of set those things up and perhaps pay off certain things that happened in the last episode. So those things sort of go on the board right away. And then from there we sort of divide it by act breaks, which are essentially commercial breaks, and try to find what are those tentpole moments from which to sort of hang the entire episode around. And there's a lot of rewriting, once we sort of have a skeleton structure, then we'll pitch it to the bosses, which are Jonathan Nolan and Greg Flagman, who used to run Cold Case, and they'll chime in with their notes. And then it's a lot of rewriting, and then you go to New York and you're freezing cold, and the blizzard keeps you there even longer than you expected. You're filming all over the streets of New York for a while, and that's a lot of fun too. And then you take it back to Los Angeles, where we sort of cut it in post-production, and then you sort of see, okay, what are the pieces that we need to make the story make sense now, especially since we are pretty much 100% of the time over on time. So you're always going to need to do some consolidating on the story end, which is a very tricky thing to do when you've already written it. You can't just take out any random piece and have the whole story make sense. So.
Right. Yeah. So this is the episode is entitled Karma.
Karma, correct.
And it airs next Tuesday on CBS.
Yeah.
And a question. I mean, what's the long-term plan for the show? I mean, is there an end game? Or is this meant to be open-ended?
That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest with you. I know Jonathan Nolan has talked about certain things he wants to do in later seasons, and he says we have lots more stories to tell, and I hope we get to tell them because the engine of the story very much lends itself to constantly exploring new worlds and new cases of the week.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes, but at the same time, we do have those serialized elements that are certainly building towards certain moments that you're going to see, some of which in the very near future. So
Yeah, well, I mean, and I mean, and I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but I mean, there was some stuff last season with certain characters who were regulars, and um, again, I'm trying to I don't want to spoil anything because I really do think people should discover the show, but I appreciated the willingness to take risks, let's say, with elements that you would think are sort of immutable.
Sure.
I'm trying to be very vague here, but that's all right. I think you know what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to.
No, I absolutely do, and it's been really gratifying to sort of see the difference in response from when we've had moments like that in the past and moments like that when we had this season, where the audience seemed very much more in tune with those moments this season. They seem to really understand better that, look, this is a show where anything can happen and anything can change.
Where that can happen, yeah.
Yeah.
My job here really is to intrigue Brian. Brian, are you intrigued by any of this?
Oh no, I'm in. I'm gonna watch next week.
Do check it out. Check it out from the beginning. I think it's really worth seeing.
Yeah.
That being said, let's move on to discuss some headlines. There is a whole bunch of stuff that's happened in the last 2 weeks, so I want to power through a lot of this stuff. But obviously we're having a lot of fun, and I feel like kind of a buzzkill bringing the room down here. But we have to talk about Leonard Nimoy having passed away. We're recording on Monday, the 2nd of March, and he just passed away on Friday, just a few days ago, and. This is, I have to be honest. I was sitting in my class. I had students delivering speeches, and so I'm like on my computer, typing up feedback, whatever, and I have my phone out, and I get a text alert, and it just says Leonard Nimoy passes away at 83, and I'm watching the speeches, and I get the text, and I'm processing it, and just a tear rolls down my face. And it was completely unbidden, but it was this complete, it was like the most honest reaction of just the shock of seeing that, and it's weird because obviously we've talked about plenty of famous people who've passed on, but I find it difficult to remember a celebrity death that hit me in the same way. And it's weird because you start I think, Brian, you and I have talked about how our generation of actors and that the ones that we grew up with are now hitting, this is not going to be uncommon. We're going to start hearing about this more and more. And I think that the realization of sort of the finality of it, I don't know if that sounds really almost childishly naive on my part, but you see this headline, Leonard Nimoy is gone, and you're like, we will never see another Leonard Nimoy performance. We will never see Spock again. And it was. Right. Does that make sense? I don't know.
No. I mean, he's. I think because we live in a very, especially our generation, a very culture-driven sort of, mentality. Just growing up. I mean, we grew up with a lot of television and movies, and we're in an interesting generation where we're now the parents and the adults, but we're still wearing shirts of our favorite cartoon characters. You know what I mean? We've allowed this stuff to really seep in to us. And so, growing up with Star Trek, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I grew up with Star Trek because I really didn't, like you did. And but to me, I mean, the character of Mr. Spock, he isn't just a character. I mean, he is iconic. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's part of the fabric of the culture that we grew up in. And so, especially being endeared, to his work like you've been, and I've enjoyed the movies and whatnot. Yeah, it's weird. Just piggybacking on what you just said. Yeah, growing up, say someone like Jimmy Stewart died, you'd be like, oh, Jimmy Stewart. Yeah, I remember Jimmy Stewart. And then it would be, or it'd be him, and you're like, I know him. But then there'd be a slew of other sort of people of his ilk that you don't really know.
Yeah.
But now we're getting to the point where we do know the people, and these are the people that we grew up with, and these are the people that a lot of our memories growing up, the things that we watched at Christmas time or something like that, you know what I mean? Or oh, that was the first movie my dad took me to, or whatever. Those are the people now that are getting up there in age and passing on, and it's a weird sort of thing.
It really is. I mean, we're in the midst of it, and you start again. I mean, Sean Connery is in his 80s. Clint Eastwood is pushing 90, I think.
Wow.
Harrison Ford is in his 70s, and I mean, again, it's on the one hand, it's weird, right? Because on the one hand, you say, well, Leonard Nimoy lived to 83 years old, and my God, what a life, you know. And yet, even so, I'm here, and I didn't know the man, of course, but I knew his work, and I admired his work, and I loved him for what he gave the world in that sense. And even at 83, I'm like, it's still not. It wasn't enough, you know.
Yeah.
Like, does it, you know, like that's what I'm thinking about. Like, it's weird to feel this loss in such a personal way when objectively there's no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that I think that speaks to what he did, what he accomplished with, you know, but we can only hope to leave a mark on this world to the extent that whether it's us or a character we played, you know, the President of the United States issues a statement mourning us.
Right.
You know, and it's funny actually because there was a thing on USA Today about like President Obama released this statement, and I was like, oh, I'll check it out, and I read it, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, and it was kind of a boilerplate thing, like I loved Spock, blah blah blah, and then I made the mistake of reading the comments underneath the article, and I got trapped in this horrific hellscape of just evil people.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know, if I could see things are heading that way, like we've talked about this with the Kardashians and people like that. Like the Simpsons Halloween episode making the monsters go away. Just don't look.
Just don't look. I know, real.
That's my mantra when it comes to that kind of crap.
Now, it's sort of tangentially connected to the Nimoy passing away story is how people online took it extremely personally that William Shatner was unable to attend the funeral. Now, were you guys aware of this?
I knew that was a story, that he had a function, like a charity function that he had to be at, so he couldn't go. I was completely unaware that people were giving him crap about it.
Yeah, well, it's because I only became aware of this because people posted on my Facebook wall, and they're like, what a douche, and, you know, his name really is Shat, and all that stuff, you know. As in the past tense of shit, you know. And sorry, just to clarify.
Well, you're gonna have to give him that one. That was pretty good.
And I'm sure he's never heard that ever, right? But it's weird because essentially what happened is that of course, right? Leonard Nimoy passes away. All eyes turn to William Shatner. Well, what does he have to say? And he released a statement like he was a brother to me, and it's a very poignant statement. And then he says, you know, I'm in Florida for a charity event, and this was on Saturday night, and I'm not going to be able to make it back in time for Leonard's funeral. And the internet erupted as if William Shatner had personally slighted every single person reading that statement. And what's your problem, Bill? And this and that. And it's like, you know, look, I'm not going to defend William Shatner because clearly the man has an ego and everything else. Like we can put that in the given file, right? But I think it's okay to let an 80-plus-year-old man grieve in his own way.
Right.
And you know, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, well, don't they have a flight at 6 a.m.? And I'm like, he's 84 years old. Like
Right.
we forget. I mean, seriously, we forget that he is a very old man.
Wow, he's 84 years old.
When
you see him in those Priceline commercials and everything,
you wouldn't know.
No.
Yeah.
No.
He was separated from Leonard Nimoy by 4 days.
Huh.
They were born 4 days apart. Yeah. So you know, I mean, it's weird how this reflexive. It's the expectation that you need to grieve the way we want you to grieve.
Right.
Yeah, and talk about a rock and a hard place. I mean, because it was a charity event too. So had he left the charity event, I'm sure he would have gotten some kind of backlash for not attending that as well. You know what I mean? It seems like that was a no-win scenario in terms of the eyes of the public. But
yeah.
He'd get shat on either way. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, so people need to chill out. Leave William Shatner alone. Now, moving on from downer talk, this is still downer talk, I guess. It's the Oscars. Brian, we talk about the Oscars every year out of kind of a sense of duty. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously. Totally. I don't think we've ever been excited to talk about them.
Yeah, so now, I as you know, I'm cable free, so I have no idea about this stuff as it happens live. You usually are at an Oscar party every year, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you were at an Oscar party this year?
Mm-hmm.
And what was it like watching the show live?
This was one of the first years I can remember that people got up in the middle and just started doing other things.
Wow. Okay.
It was just everything I'm going to say right now sounds like the stock things you say after every Oscar ceremony, but it was way too long. And then that's
it was like Titanic long.
I can't come up with anything clever enough fast. There was some really awesome retort there that I didn't have. But no, it's look, they're always going to be 3.5 hours or something like that. That's fine. That's totally fine. The trick is to not make it feel like 3.5 hours. And if you have a good host and you got like really fun things going on, you're not going to think about it. And if you've got like I don't know, if you even care about the movies that are nominated, I think that helps too. But sure. I think Neil Patrick Harris, he was fine. Like, he looked comfortable on a stage, but he just didn't have anything good to do. Like, his shtick wasn't very strong, and so that wasn't very helpful. And then they just had so many little tangents, like the Sound of Music thing Lady Gaga did, which was amazing, by the way. I mean, she killed it. Like, it was really amazing, but at the same time, like, I think that happened after the 3-hour mark, and you're starting to feel like,
exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, and then I couldn't help but think, like, because the Sound of Music was turning 50, I was like, every year a movie's turning 50, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but
so they should bring Gaga back every year to sing the theme sing a medley from every movie.
Yeah, but it was like
the Star Wars one myself.
Right. Well, then they did the In Memoriam thing, which is, of course, always nice. But then they brought out Jennifer Hudson to sing a song after that. That was sort of like a, mournful sort of song, and it was like, why didn't you do that like during it or something?
Let's consolidate a little bit here.
Yeah. So it wasn't a very good ceremony so much this year. But some of the winners I was excited about. I was excited that Grand Budapest got recognized like it did. And J.K. Simmons for Whiplash, which I realized, by the way, when I watched that movie, I was like really tense because his character makes you very uncomfortable. And then he hosted SNL, and he went back into that character during his monologue, and I found my body tensing again, like uncomfortable as he was doing that character again. I was like, wow, that guy, he made an impression on me.
That's hilarious.
Sounds like he traumatized you.
He did. I mean, it's like, have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Whiplash? Oh man, like people got to see that movie. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. That was my favorite movie last year, as we talked about on here. But
yeah, I need to watch it. Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed it as well. I thought J.K. Simmons was just fantastic in that film.
Yeah, just like such a refreshing sort of movie. Yeah, performance-wise, but also just story-wise. I had no clue where it was going. It's always nice to be surprised,
Yeah.
So. Well, I mean, the surprise to me was that Boyhood did not win Best Picture, because I was honestly fully expecting that to.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I, Brian, you and I both were kind of, not really blown away by Birdman. So I know I was kind of like, oh, it won Best Picture, okay. But it's that movie is a fascinating case study, because I talked to people who are just passionate about it, and they're over the moon about it, and I don't think they're doing that to show off. So I mean, I'm more like envious in a way, because it clearly touched them in a way that I've been looking for that connection. But I did expect Michael Keaton to win Best Actor, so I have to say I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't.
Yeah, that was a tough one, because Eddie Redmayne, like he did a really good job, in my opinion. I've read some articles where people thought it was sort of Oscar baity kind of a thing, and I get it. I totally do. But, like, man, what he did, I don't think a lot of people can do what he actually did in that movie, whether they like the movie or not. So,
well, not a lot of actors can do what he did in Jupiter Ascending either. At some point. But by the way, I was going through my old emails, and I found these old emails from the publicists asking if I was interested in interviewing Eddie Redmayne for Theory of Everything. And this was like in the early part of last year, or whenever the PR stuff started coming. And I was like, whatever, whoever this guy is, Eddie Redmayne, whatever. I turn into a Deliverance character when I read my.
You turn things down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was reading that, and I'm like, Huh? Yeah, because this is twice I've done this a few times now, so I'm not very bright. The other thing, I don't know if you saw this, but it's a Vine that's been making the rounds where you can see when the Best Actor award is announced, you can see Michael Keaton quickly put his what appears to be his speech like under his arm and tuck it away. Yeah. And then you see him kind of like hide it and put it away. And sort of you watch that and sort of the collective reaction of the internet is like, oh.
Which I thought was kind of nice, right? Everybody seemed to really be like, oh, man. Like everyone just kind of wanted to pat him on the back, instead of...
Well, you know what happened afterwards is that Michael Keaton went back to his dressing room and it was like, you feel like an idiot now, don't you? Well, you're not so big, are you? Who do you think you are? We
like,
missed that.
Stop it. What are you going to do, Beetlejuice 3?
That's what happened immediately after. We missed that at the after parties, but
that's pretty good, Zachy.
Well, thank you. Now, some other stuff that's coming up. Obviously, we can't go an episode without talking about some of the big franchises. And here's a franchise that I did not see coming back, but Alien is being resurrected. No pun intended. And this is news that has people a lot more excited than they should be, considering they usually hate half of all the Alien movies.
Yes, but I think it's well, I mean, it's like, but District 9 is like one of the best science fiction films that come out in the past 10 years or something like that, and it's like he wants to make an Alien movie. It's like, all right.
Well, yeah. So this is Neil Blomkamp, and he did District 9. He also did Elysium, which I loved. And he didn't. I don't know if you saw this. He broke bad on his own movie, and I was like, oh, geez, okay. So was I wrong to like this movie? And he has Chappie coming out later this week, which I'm going to be seeing on Wednesday. But yeah, he's kind of like one of the new visionary voices of sci-fi. He's been really interested in doing another Alien movie, and so this is happening now. In the time since the announcement to now, there's been a lot of question about what this film is going to be, because initially it was like, oh, he's going to ignore Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection,
right,
and just do a direct sequel to Aliens, right, which he wants to do. Now, what I'm hearing, the latest thing, is he's not overwriting those movies. He's making something set before Alien 3 and Alien 4, which makes no sense to me at all. I don't. I mean that makes zero sense, because the whole point of this series is having the suspense of what's going to happen, and if you're saying, well, we need to line up with Alien 3 at some point, then you're basically killing all the suspense. It makes no sense.
Well, especially, I mean, Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah, and she's very old, by the way. There is that.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's not going to look like in between 2 and 3, just because of the law of nature. But you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I mean, she looks good for a 60-plus-year-old woman, I think.
Sure, for sure.
She is 60-plus, right? I don't want to inadvertently offend Sigourney Weaver. Let me find out how old she is, actually.
What? You have to assume she's
65. She's 65. And she looks great for a 65-year-old woman.
Yeah.
But I mean...
Think about that, by the way. We're all going to go see a movie where a 65-year-old woman kicks ass.
Maybe.
That's pretty cool. Well,
maybe kicks ass. Now, well, I mean, let me just throw this out to you guys. I mean, what do you think about another, not just an Alien movie by Neil Blomkamp, because I think that's a great idea, but one that is trying to sort of fit in and be a part of this series, which is kind of a mess of its own continuity. I mean, is that something you are interested in?
Yeah, it makes me curious about what it is he's planning, because to me, yes, the Alien movies are science fiction movies, but they always felt more like horror movies to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Neil Blomkamp is, in my opinion, squarely a science fiction director based on what I've seen him do. So it just makes me very curious about what the plan is for it, and yeah, I mean, I'll definitely show up to see what he does, but it's a big question.
the what makes the series unique, I think, is how tonally every movie is tonally so distinct from the one before it. You know, I mean, no one is going to confuse Ridley Scott's Alien movie with James Cameron's Alien movie, and even the third one, which is the third Alien, is not a good movie. There is sort of this new desire to sort of retroactively be like, no, it's a work of art, like ignored work of genius. No, I mean it's a bad movie, and it's not David Fincher's fault. The script is terrible. I feel bad for David Fincher because he filmed the hell out of it. But when you watch it now, you can at least appreciate it for the aesthetic that he brought to it. Mm-hmm. The fourth one, which is Jean-Pierre Jeunet, did that. If you see him in the like the behind the scenes stuff, he speaks French. He doesn't speak any English, and he's basically like, I don't know why they asked me to make this movie. So I just, he's like, I have no idea. I mean, the check cleared, so I did it. That's his perspective on it. So, but at the very least, very, very distinct, all of them. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I wonder if the thread has played out a little bit. I mean, I think Prometheus was an attempt to revive it, and Brian, per you, the sequel is going to happen. Per me, the sequel will never happen.
All right, we'll see. I don't know. Life's crazy.
Brian is more in the know than I am, so I'm very far out on a limb. But I'm absolutely content that this sequel will never happen. So.
Whether or not it does, they are trying to make it happen hard. Like they're plotting this thing to happen. Like this, the wheels are in motion.
Okay, Brian, let me put it this way. Notwithstanding the wheels and how much motion they're in, do you think there is a desire on the part of the audience for Prometheus 2?
No.
Absolutely not, right?
When does that stop them before?
True. I mean, Sabir, do you want to see a sequel to Prometheus?
Okay, so I do have a confession to make.
Yes.
It is that I'm an enormous fan of Damon Lindelof, who's the writer of Prometheus, because I think he is the.
Oh, you should talk to Sean Coyle because you guys.
Oh, really? I mean, to me, he's the only television writer, at least, who really explores spiritual themes in the medium of television, and I give him a lot of credit for that. I'm a huge fan of Lost. So I think my tolerance for some of the things that happen in Prometheus is a lot higher than others. That said, no, I'm not particularly curious about seeing a sequel to Prometheus.
That's my point, and that's exactly my point. Even people who liked the movie are like, I'm good.
Right.
But I'll go.
Well, I don't think, honestly, Brian, I don't think there's enough of you.
No, I'm. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there are enough. But we've talked about this before. Like, I mean, there are things we don't like about that movie, but I really enjoyed the experience of watching that movie.
Oh, well, I think whenever people ask me about it, I say it's beautiful to look at but hard to watch.
Yeah.
which is basically how I feel. Now the Alien franchise is coming back, and it's almost like we're just digging up old Ridley Scott franchises because we've got Blade Runner 2, which they've been talking about for a little while. And up until now, I didn't take it seriously, but Harrison Ford has signed on.
That's crazy.
Which is insane because he's also ancient, and by the way, Harrison Ford in reference to the script for Blade Runner 2, he said it's the best thing I've ever read.
They always say that.
Which well, I was about to say. I mean, I think that's meant to make us feel better, but this is the same guy who starred in Hollywood Homicide and K-19, the Widowmaker, and Firewall, and I believe he was in the last Indiana Jones movie. So I mean. I don't know what his bar for good is, but I'll tell you, more than Harrison Ford being in it, I'm interested in the fact that Denis Villeneuve is signed on, and he directed Prisoners, which Brian, you and I both liked.
I love Prisoners, yeah.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of it as well. Love that movie.
Yeah.
See, him signing on to direct has me more interested than Harrison Ford being in it, which is weird. It's a weird reaction.
Yeah, but I mean, someone like him, he doesn't have to make this movie, you know. And we've seen that he has like a really interesting and intentional filmmaking style. You know what I mean? He can craft a good story and everything. So yeah, so that person who could probably go off and make his interesting movies if he wanted, that he wants to do Blade Runner 2. You're like, well, why? What don't I know about it? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it per se. You know what I mean? Like, it still seems kind of odd to me, but I don't know. I mean, like, the first one is so iconic. It's almost like it would feel like an imitation or something. You know, to try to make that whole aesthetic all over again. I don't know.
Well, think about this, by the way. The first Blade Runner is set 5 years from now.
Is it really?
Wow.
Yeah. Like the definitive dystopian future of our childhood is 5 years away.
Huh.
It's really weird, you know. The other thing actually is that if Harrison Ford is in it, doesn't that basically destroy the conventional wisdom that Deckard is a replicant, right?
I thought about that.
And Ridley Scott has said as much. He hasn't denied it. He's like, yeah, Deckard's a replicant.
Right.
So
Right.
so do replicants not age? They don't age, right? Because they die after a certain. So explain this to me is what I'm saying.
Well, they will. And apparently, they explained it really well, according to Harrison Ford. So.
Well, whoever they cast, I just hope they blink a lot randomly, like Jake Gyllenhaal in
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, yeah.
and well, yeah, get Jake Gyllenhaal in there. He would be I could see him as a replicant, right?
Sure.
Well, let me ask you guys this while we're still on Blade Runner 2.
Yeah.
As big movie buffs, how many direct sequels to movies 20 years down the line have you guys seen that you've actually enjoyed? I feel like it's this very dangerous territory to always go into.
So you mean belated sequels?
Sure.
Not Dumb and Dumber. I was just talking about that with Sean today, actually.
So Dumb and Dumber's a no. Man,
what are some other examples?
That's a great question. I can't honestly. I can't think of. You know what?
Independence Day 2? Uh-oh.
There's a lot of these coming up. Yeah, and by the way, Blade Runner 1 came out in what, 82? So this is going to be 34, 30 years after the first one, which is might be the biggest gap we've ever seen, right? Between sequels.
Yeah.
Belated sequels, man. Okay, so Indiana Jones 4, obviously we've established that wasn't what it could have been.
I'm just sure they can have belated sequels. That's a hard one.
So Superman Returns was also not good. Boy, Godfather 3 is disliked.
Oh yeah.
Sabir, you win. I mean, I can't think of a one. I mean, after a certain amount of time, it's almost like, it's gone bad. You leave a franchise alone too long, and it goes bad.
Because it's become burned into our consciousness. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you make a sequel 2 or 3 years later,
it's become frozen in amber.
Yes, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah, it's you can't do anything that will feel like it connects to it correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if Jurassic World sucks, I'm going to blame you, Sabir.
Yeah.
I will put all the blame on your
episode.
shoulders.
We're like, well. You're like, what? I didn't say anything about Jurassic World.
Well, it makes me very curious about Star Wars Episode 7, because that is, in some ways, a belated sequel in that these guys are coming back, right, from Episode 6. So
that'll be interesting.
We'll see how that turns out.
It's weird because it's Lucas-free, so I'm curious what that's going to feel like, first of all. But also, like those characters, that many years removed. That's a perfect example, actually. Yeah, because we haven't seen them since '83 as those characters. So that's going to be something.
Look, I mean, we've talked about this before. There is no way that a whole mess of people are not going to be hugely disappointed by Star Wars Episode 7. Just count on it.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was going to save this for later in the show for Star Wars talk, but since we don't really have any news and we're talking about it right now, this is a conversation I had on Facebook where I was like, given the choice in 1999, without the benefit of hindsight, would you have preferred getting sequels? Because at the time, the whole conventional wisdom was we're going to get prequels and that's it. But now, knowing that there are sequels, would you have rather gotten them earlier? Because it almost feels like, thanks to these stupid prequels, we lost out on 15 years we could have spent with the characters we like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, if it's a case of either or. I think ideally I would have just preferred a good origin trilogy of Darth Vader. That would have been ideal.
Sure. But I mean, it's one of those things where, like, when you think about it, we could have gotten the prequels at any time. Whereas with the original with the original characters, we're kind of on the clock, right? And the reason I bring this up is that there's a lot of talk, and I don't even think this necessarily constitutes a spoiler per se, but there's a lot of talk that we may not get to hang out with our familiar characters very long in these new movies.
Right.
So either by virtue of limited screen time or Blaze of Glory, however, we're going to transition in. And so I'm like, well, God damn it, we could have we could have had a whole other trilogy with our favorite characters then, and just done the prequels at any time.
Yeah.
You know. Stupid George Lucas.
Could have saved Harrison Ford from Firewall.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think about it. Like, without the benefit of hindsight, would you want to see prequels, right? Because now it's like, oh, of course, I don't want the prequels. But it's like at the time, because my contention is like the prequels tell a story that never needed to be told.
Right. I feel like, yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know. There was something there. It just could have been told better. I don't know.
Yeah, and I kind of feel. Honestly, that might be the case with Episode 7. I mean, having seen Return of the Jedi, that was a pretty nice conclusion to the entire story. I didn't feel like there were too many lingering plot threads that necessitate going back to seeing those characters again. So
I 100% agree, and I said this like back in 2012 when the sale happened, where I was like, this is a chance for Star Wars to get ruined even more. Because
potentially, yeah.
I mean,
we'll diminishes the conclusion where it's like the Empire is completely wiped out, but they're going to start up again. Oh well, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like I hope it's not like a repetitive sort of,
right.
Just
I mean, clearly
a natural progression from where we left off. Hopefully,
just based on the teaser, the Empire is still around in some form,
right?
And our characters are all decrepit old people, and they're still dealing with that. So I'm not sure how much of a victory it was at the end, Yeah. I don't know. But regardless, other stuff that is happening now. We have Spectre coming out later this year, which is the new James Bond movie, and I just wanted to bring up how Dave Bautista is the villain in this movie. And this guy is everywhere now all of a sudden. All it took was being in Guardians of the Galaxy to be like the go-to guy. I just read that he's also the villain in this Highlander movie that they want to make, that they've been trying to make forever. And that's actually like more interesting to me even than Bond, because it's like, well, of course there's going to be another Bond, but the fact that they're still trying to figure out Highlander.
Right.
This is a movie that came out in 1986, and it's like one good movie and a bunch of terrible sequels.
And a television series, right?
And a television series, and it just keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. It is the Highlander franchise is the Highlander,
right?
Because it will not die. My thing though, and this is just an idea that I had. I would love to see a story about an immortal who's actually about 30 years old.
Wait,
that's the actual length of time he's been alive. So he like flashes
so
back
he hasn't
to like
lived lifetimes yet.
Yeah, so he's like born in 1982, and he flashes back. He's like, this reminds me of when George Bush was president. And you're like, yeah, I remember. We
were all there.
We were in school together.
Yeah, his first 70-some years, just like whatever.
I mean, that's we never get the immortal within the normal human lifespan.
Right.
I feel like that's a story that's way too.
That's pretty funny.
But as speaking of being immortal, Tom Rothman's career.
Wow, a good transition.
Thank you. I am paid for this. Well, actually, I'm not paid, but I've been doing this for a while. So Amy Pascal, who we talked about a few weeks ago, we did a dramatic reading of her email meltdown. She lost her job at.
I don't know if she really had a meltdown, but
Brian, come on, that was meltdown-ish, if nothing else.
All right.
But regardless, so she was shown the door at Sony, and the door led to the adjacent Spider-Man franchise, which she's producing. So she's doing fine. Shed no tears for Amy, but she's being replaced by Tom Rothman, who used to be president of at 20th Century Fox. So this Brian, this indicates to me that Sony has learned nothing.
Right. Or I don't know. Who knows? I mean, yeah, you'd think they'd want to get someone in there new and exciting with some fresh ideas and a Kevin Feige type, if you will. You know what I mean? Even though there aren't very many of him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Someone who's
There's only one I've heard.
Well, yeah, someone who's like a producer who has a stamp and it's proven, and they've shown that they can command a ship with many parts and things like that. I mean, he's the only one that can come to mind, honestly, right now. But I think there are a few people who can do that position, or at least that they believe can do that position. So it almost seems like, yeah, they just recycle each other rather than bring in someone new to be exciting and figure it out. So,
well, Brian, I mean, you were at Fox when Rothman was there, right? You were working on. I mean, what's his management approach?
Oh man, you're asking the wrong guy. I really don't know, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, the thing I would know about him is what we all know, like through the things we read and the decisions that they make and the pictures that they made. I just know that the rule of thumb, wow, I'm missing my my analogy here.
Your train just derailed, is what happened.
Yeah, there you go. The thought was that he was shown the door because he turned down Ted, amid a bunch of other sorts of
that's actually what happened?
Misfires. That was believed to be one of the last straws, let's say, because Seth MacFarlane was like a Fox darling, and then he rejects Ted, and then it becomes like the highest-grossing comedy of all time. And then he had other series of misfires with like Wolverine Origins and just a lot of mismanagement with the superheroes in a lot of ways, which
I mean, I think arguably you can trace sort of like the X-Men series where it sort of ran into trouble is almost directly correlated with his increased involvement in it. I mean, is that a fair sort of read from the outside looking in? Because
the outside looking in, I suppose
it sure feels that way because the series starts with a very low budget, and I think it was something that they just sort of. I mean, the first, if you watch the first X-Men movie, it looks like something you'd watch on like syndicated, TV in the '90s.
Right.
And I mean, they had like $75 million, I think, to make it, which is nothing. Like when you think about it, so it's almost like the studio was not particularly interested in making this thing, and it turned into a success without them realizing it.
Right.
And then it becomes a success, so Bryan Singer is given a little bit more rope to make the second one, which continues to be a success. Singer leaves, and at that point, the studio almost swoops in, and we get kind of this cranked out product.
Right.
And that carries on into the Wolverine Origins movie, which was also, that was directed by Gavin Hood, who's not a bad director, but he was subsumed by sort of the mechanics of this franchise machine, and then it took Tom Rothman left right around the time that First Class came out, if I'm not mistaken, or shortly thereafter. I mean, I wonder about because Alien versus Predator, that happened on his watch, and that's this PG-13 piece of crap.
Right.
When I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but James Cameron gave an interview where he talked about how he had said, because he has a contract with 20th Century Fox, he was like, he told them, I want to do another Alien movie, just don't do Alien versus Predator, and they were like, no, we'd rather do Alien versus Predator.
What in the world were they thinking?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense, So,
yeah.
And we'll give it to Paul Anderson, the other P.U. Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. But regardless, he's replaced Amy Pascal as head of Sony. So in my opinion, this means that the Sony death spiral will be continuing unabated. So I look forward to the next batch of leaked emails that we'll be doing dramatic readings from.
Well, it'll be interesting though what those movies look like. You know what I mean? Will they start to look like Fox looked like 10 years ago, or I don't know how much. Like, I can't even feel like I can categorize what's... Like, when I picture Fox, I can kind of picture their movies, but I can't really picture Sony's movies. You know what I mean? So
nobody can. That's why they're in so much trouble.
Well, that's the problem. But, I mean, yeah, I wonder with him in there, if we look 10 years down the road, if we'll be able to feel like they have a distinctive voice, and if it feels familiar
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, when we talk about familiar, obviously the Spider-Man series has become too familiar, which is why Sony's had so many problems with it. That may be in the process of changing because the word, and granted, I need to couch this because this comes from Latino Review, and it's not a great website, but I'm seeing it echoed in other parts of the internet, the geek sphere, that the rebooted Spider-Man that Sony is doing by teaming up with Marvel will be directed and written by Drew Goddard.
Right.
And a lot of people are excited about this. I have to be honest, I don't know enough about Drew Goddard to have a feeling either way. Have either of you guys seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
Yes.
But both of you guys have.
Uh-huh.
So having seen that, is it a cause for optimism that the guy who wrote and directed that is doing the new Spider-Man? Maybe doing the new Spider-Man.
Well, how do you feel?
For me, it's certainly not a cause of concern because I did like what I saw, and I thought it was a very creative movie. I think Joss Whedon certainly had his own fingerprints in that movie as well, so it's hard to say what was him and what was Drew. I think Drew was also a writer on, what was that Godzilla type of movie that was Handycam? Help me out here.
Cloverfield.
Yeah, so I think that was him. You know, he's written some episodes of Lost as well, so you can see a little bit of his voice in there.
And World War Z also. He did a fix on that. The new ending I think was him.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. So I think based on those things, it seems to me that he's a pretty talented writer. I have no idea as a director what to expect from him, having that much control over it, especially in this new Marvel Sony limbo. Like I just don't know what that's going to be.
Yeah, it's again, whenever I read about the new Spider-Man movie, the part of the story that makes me happiest is Avi Arad has nothing to do with it. He has no say. They're paying him shut up money, and I say, that's what I like to hear. Now here's a conversation that's been happening about Spider-Man, and boy, I would love to get your thoughts on this. I think this is fascinating. Whether Spider-Man should be cast and played by a non-white actor is obviously something that's been talked about.
Let me get this out there first. I loved Selma. Having said that, no, I'm just kidding.
It's really interesting. I saw an article online and it was like, inside sources, which means nothing by the way, but inside sources say that Spider-Man won't be white in this version or whatever. So I read the article and again there was nothing definitive in there. It seemed mostly conjectural, but I posted it on Facebook and I just said I'm just gonna leave this here, have at. And I posted it, and I went off to teach my class, and 2 hours later I come back, and no joke, it was about 150 comments.
Really?
Wow.
Without my prodding or anything like that. And clearly people are very passionate about this. So this is a two-part question that I have, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. First of all, a lot of people are saying, well, if you want to cast a non-white actor, have a non-white actor, you can have him play Miles Morales, who is like this alternate universe Spider-Man that was created a couple of years ago, and he's modeled on Donald Glover, by the way. And then you have people saying, no, Spider-Man has to be Peter Parker. So here's my question: A, does Spider-Man of necessity have to be Peter Parker? And B, does Peter Parker of necessity have to be white? I would love to get your thoughts on this. So, white guy, go.
I feel like if Marvel is going to introduce Spider-Man finally under the Marvel Cinematic Universe banner, I feel like it has to be Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. I feel like, to me personally, I don't really care how he looks. I know that sounds like the PC sort of like right thing to say. I really don't. Like if he's a good character, he's a good character. Yeah. So, I don't know.
So being Peter Parker is more important than certainly the race, but even like that other non-white version of the character.
Yeah, I feel like this is really this is a reboot. This is a reintroduction of this character, and like I feel like it has to be Peter Parker.
Yeah. Sabir, what do you think?
Well, I feel like we've sort of seen the Peter Parker story twice now in movies. Yeah. And so if we're going to just rehash that again and do the whole power and responsibility thing with Uncle Ben and just go through the motions of that again, please God, no. I would rather actually see another character altogether like Miles Morales or something like that in the role, because at least it'll be something different. That's just me personally.
What if we skip over the origin?
Right. So if we're skipping over the origin and now we're just exploring how Peter Parker is interacting with all these other characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that could be really cool, because I love the way he interacts with other superheroes in the comics universe, obviously. In Civil War and all those things were very, very interesting moments. So yeah, I do think there's further cause for exploration with Peter Parker. But yeah, if we're going to retread some of the same material, I think we should just go in another direction altogether.
So should he be white?
I honestly don't know what difference it makes if you're just going to be changing the race for the sake of it, but it's the same story. You know, that's my concern is more about are we exploring new story territory. So
sure.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to say I would rather have Peter Parker be white.
Just because that's the way that the Peter Parker character's been.
Well, I just feel like that's a good twist for this show because you would expect. But I mean, yeah, no, Brian, that's exactly it. I mean, it's honestly, it's obviously, it's not a race issue because in truth, there's nothing about the Peter Parker character that necessitates him being white. I mean, it's you know, it's not, and it's weird, right? Because we always get these whenever this conversation comes up. Because a few months ago we were talking about potentially a black James Bond, and people are like, well, fine, why don't we just have George Clooney play Shaft? It's like yes, because it's exactly the same thing. You know, it's oh my gosh, it's how did I not see it clearly the way you do? Yeah, I mean, of course, there really is nothing in Peter Parker, the character as he's made up, that he needs to be white. He can be Hispanic or black or anything else. But I mean, you know, when you think about it, a lot of this is the appeal of these characters is nostalgia, and a lot of times we want what we want because that's the way we've always had it. And now I'm not saying that applies in all things in life and society, obviously. But in this very narrow this very narrow strip of life, which is, you know, fictional things, I kind of say, well, you know, I'd like Peter Parker to look like the version of the character that I grew up reading and watching on television, etc. Now that being said, if they were to make him a person of color, I would not. It wouldn't be a big deal. I wouldn't care. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about personal preference, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
Sure.
I don't want to inadvertently offend anybody who's listening. And
No, the real question is organic web shooters or mechanical web shooters. I think that's the real mark of a Spider-Man fan.
I think yeah, I would prefer mechanical, but if they went with organic, actually, here's my issue with the organic web shooters. Where does he store all that stuff?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you picture it, that's vaguely disgusting. Because you just picture his entire body filled with goop.
Yeah.
It's like spooge, basically, right? It's just coming out, you know.
Yeah, and if he doesn't use it enough, you know, one night he's gonna wake up. There's gonna be web everywhere.
You know, you're joking, but I think because the organic web shooters, you know who actually came up with that concept? It was James Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right? Because back in the early '90s, he was going to do the Spider-Man movie, so his treatment is what formed the basis for what became the Sam Raimi movie. So the organic web shooters is something that he came up with, and he actually had a nocturnal emission scene that he wrote into his treatment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there you go, Brian.
I guess watching Titanic enough has helped me to think like James Cameron.
It's almost like he's become an avatar for you, Brian.
Yeah.
And thank you. Well, with that, I see that we are right up against our time. So as we wind things down, wow, we just blazed through 90 minutes. I just realized, man.
Wow, I didn't even feel like it.
I know. This was great. I'm glad that we got to have Sabir on because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. So hopefully, as you're expanding out more and racking up more credits, we want you to remember us little people, so that you can come hang out with us. But Sabir, where can people find you online? I know that you are an avid Twitterer, unlike certain other people on this show.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter just At my name, at Sabir Pirzada. So SabirPirza.
No, you've been doing some comic writing and stuff too, right?
Yes. So I have one comic book published with Arcana Comics. It's called Affliction, and that came out digitally in 2013. And then we did a really small signing at Comic-Con in 2014. So it exists. You can get it in print and online
Cool.
in both forms. So that exists as well. And and I'm working on a bunch of other new stuff. So hopefully that'll come out at some point. We'll see.
And Brian, where can people find you online?
I've come to dread this part of the show.
This is one of my favorite parts of the show, as just a fan.
Well, I have a blog. It's out there. It's at everythingbrian.blogspot.com. I am on Twitter. That is a thing. I have a marked space on Twitter that is at everythingbrian. And I recently joined Instagram. Zachy and I were joking about earlier. And
well, I'm sure you'll do for Instagram what you've done for Twitter.
Yeah, I haven't.
Nothing.
I haven't done anything on it yet, but I'm currently fascinated with it.
And just for the sake of record keeping, Brian's current Twitter tally is at 4. He's at 4 tweets. So
I haven't been on there in a while.
we're very very happy about that. And Brian, you mentioned your blog, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm not going to look that up, but it's been a while since you posted there too. So
Yeah.
get on it, man. I'm like hustling for you.
I know.
It's very depressing. But regardless, you can find me on my blog at ZackysCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner, and also at the Huffington Post, where my movie reviews go up regularly, as does the Movie Film Podcast. You can also find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner, and the Movie Film Podcast can be found at moviefilmpodcast.com, and also at our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. Please do like that page. Also, hit up iTunes, hit up Stitcher Radio, write us a review, leave us a star rating, let us know how we're doing, because that's the only way we can improve the show. On behalf of my colleague Brian Hall and our special guest, Sabir Pirzada, my name is Zachy Hassan. This is the Movie Film Podcast. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
Welcome,